Welcome to the road to 1 million US dollars. Let's get right into the Bitcoin chart for today. Yesterday, we got rejected from this short-term level of resistance, which is sitting at about 63.3K. And after that, Bitcoin fell right into this big level of support, sitting from about 62.4K all the way down to 60,000 US dollars. So what you need to look out for in the short term, in the case that you do see the price trade lower, is this descending line of support right here, which as of the time of recording is sitting at about 59.1K. But of course, first you would really need to see the price trade below 60K, which is a big level of support. Do keep that in mind. So it's really possible to just get a bounce from here. However, that 59K support line is the first thing. And then the next big level of support below that is from about 58K all the way down to 56.5K for the Bitcoin price. And the reason why I'm talking about support levels much lower, I will get to in a second here. However, in the case that we do just see a bounce from here, the first short-term level of resistance that we will run into is sitting right here at 63.3K, and then above that at 64.4K. And those are two short-term levels of resistance. However, the next big level of resistance above that is sitting from 65K all the way up to 66,000 US dollars for the Bitcoin price. Now, the reason I'm talking about support levels lower than the current price is because of this right here, this price structure, where we have been seeing lower highs over and over again recently. And of course, yesterday we saw this run up to the upside. However, we did not manage to clear this high. So fundamentally, nothing has really changed in the price structure, even though we had a bit of bullish momentum yesterday. Because like I said in yesterday's video, ideally what you would see is the price clear above these two highs right here. So it actually sets a new higher high and then starts potentially forming a new structure for the Bitcoin price, creating higher highs and higher lows for the price action. Those are some reasons why I'm talking about support levels lower than the current price, because potentially the price could go lower here. Although even if we do see that lower price action, do not get worried just yet, because overall Bitcoin has just been in this massive consolidation pattern ever since we reached the top at about 73K. And since then, the price has just been ranging in this descending channel right here. So in the short term, nothing is really happening until we actually see a breakout to the downside or to the upside from this descending channel. And as for the levels to watch for this descending channel right here, first of all, we do have this level on the downside at about 58.5K, and the level to the upside is at about 71,000 US dollars. So unless we break to the upside or to the downside, we are still simply consolidating. So taking a look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map on the 24-hour time frame, you can see that in this move to the downside today, we took out a decent amount of liquidity to the downside, leaving very little room to the downside in terms of liquidity as of right now, with most of the liquidity being to the upside, first of all at 62.5K, but then above that, another big level of liquidity sitting at 63.4K. And we can see a similar story on the 3-day time frame, with a little bit of liquidity still being to the downside right here at about 60.2K, roughly speaking. However, most of the liquidity is to the upside, with the big bucket being at 63.5K. And zooming out to the 1-month time frame, you can see that again, most of that liquidity is to the upside at 67.4K for the Bitcoin price. And now there is limited room to the downside in terms of the liquidity right here. However, of course, there can be a big news event or something like that, especially with all the macro news and data that's coming out this week. This could definitely influence the price in a good or in a bad way. So for now, this is just what we can see. And in the case that you don't know, typically the Bitcoin price gets attracted to where there is most liquidity on this chart, which is right now to the upside. Now taking a look at the Bitcoin ETF flow tables for today. Yesterday, there was a net inflow of $66 million, which is good to see because we have been seeing some erratic moves from these Bitcoin ETFs, where one day they're buying a lot, next day they're starting to sell again, or it's just been very erratic and kind of unpredictable recently. What we really want to wait for in terms of this Bitcoin ETF flow table data is for us to start seeing a trend. But since the price is just in a large consolidation as of right now, you can also see that reflected in this inflow data, where you have some inflows and then you have some outflows, making the price consolidate. Though one thing that is very good to see is that the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF didn't sell anything on Monday, and we are really starting to see the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF slow down the selling pressure. So it seems like the Grayscale Bitcoin ETF is leaving the door wide open for these other ETFs to start buying and pushing the price higher again. Now taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame. Recently we got rejected from the 0.786 Fibonacci level, after which we traded below the 0.618 Fibonacci level and in fact moved all the way to the 0.5 Fibonacci level at about 28.60 for the price of Ethereum. And taking a look at this chart right here, you can see that Ethereum is currently in this falling wedge pattern, which is typically a bullish pattern, so it is more likely to break out to the upside. So in the case that you do want to see the Ethereum price reverse to the upside and potentially get some more bullish momentum, in that case, at the very least, you want to see a break of this trend line, which is currently sitting at about $3,000 as of the time of recording, because at that point, you can see Ethereum aiming for higher prices again. However, we must now take a look at the short-term support and resistance levels for ETH to get a better understanding of what to expect in the short term. So recently we got rejected from this level of resistance, which is sitting from 3150 all the way up to 3250, with above that the 0.618 Fibonacci level that I mentioned earlier, sitting at 3330. So now that we have traded to the downside, Ethereum is in this big level of support, which is sitting from 2850 all the way up to $3,000. However, in the case that we do see the price break below this level, I do think it is going to be quite a dire situation, because it would also break below the 0.5 Fibonacci level, with the next fib level below that being all the way at $2,400. However, there is this big level of support in between, currently sitting at about $2,720 all the way down to $2,600. So that could be potentially a level where it could bounce from in the case that it does break below that 2850 level. Now taking a look at Solana on the weekly time frame, that also recently got rejected from the 0.786 Fibonacci level at about $205, after which it traded all the way to the downside to the 0.5 Fibonacci level at $133, even getting some scary wicks as low as $115 for the price of Solana. However, in the short term, we have found some support at that 0.5 Fibonacci level. So now zooming in on the short term for Solana, you can see that Solana is currently trading in this big level of support, which is sitting from about $140 all the way up to $150 for the price of Solana. Though in the case that it does break below this level right here, then the next big level of support below that is sitting from $133 all the way down to $125 for the price of Solana. Though, of course, it can get a bounce before that, in which case the next short-term level of resistance is at about $155, and another short-term level of resistance above that is sitting at $160. However, the next big level above that is sitting at $166 all the way up to $171 for the price of Sol. This has been today's market update. Thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you tomorrow in the next one.